Hey family and friends, Josh Hampton here, Camping at the Hamptons YouTube channel. It's been a minute since I have posted new content, so I am going to camp out. All right, we're gonna see if this is gonna work. I doubt you'll be able to hear me, but I had to get some different shoes on. I have my Crocs on. That's probably not a good idea. And then I needed to get my backpack and a headlamp for later. So let's see how this works. I don't think it's going to with the vibrations. Here we go. Woo! All right, I'll just try holding. Gotta look both ways for my one neighbor. Alright, here we are. Alright, let's get that set up. So I've got my fancy homemade selfie stick here that I will use. The trail that I'm gonna go camp down is here, where eventually I'm gonna put campsite number 3. I've got a little bit of it cleared. I'm gonna clear space in there for the fire pit, and I will go ahead and grab this tent, bring it down. Hopefully that works. So I carved out this trail here, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, to go straight down to the stream, trying to have as many access trails as I can to get down to what I think is probably one of the nicest parts of this entire, well, it is one of the neatest parts of this property, is the stream, so that when folks visit, they can easily access the stream and all of the little waterfalls. So we'll take this trail and this flat spot here. When I was clearing the stream, or creekside path as I've been calling it, I thought would be a perfect spot for this tent, particularly that little spot right back there. So hopefully when I set this up, it will fit the way that I think it's going to fit. I will figure out a spot to stick the camera in order to get a little bit of footage of setting that thing up for the first time. I'll probably go through the instructions off camera so I don't look like a total idiot. But in the meantime, I am going to enjoy this stream for a few minutes. All right, so I figure I'll go ahead and just video putting this thing together. I will fast forward once I get into it, because otherwise that'll be pretty horrible to watch. So it looks pretty darn simple. I think I'm just going to set the cot up first, and then the tent on top of it should be relatively self-explanatory, but who knows. That last tent I set up, that black one, was a little bit more complicated than I thought. All right, this is a standard military style that I set up 100 times in vacationing in Iraq. Exact same style. Folds out, got the aluminum posts at the end, and then we've got some support ridge poles that go across diagonally, and then the tent sets up on top of that, or underneath the ridge poles. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. All right, this looks like it should be pretty easy. It's got a pump and everything. Yeah, this should be awesome. All right, here we go. All right, just like I remember it. We want to have the head uphill. Mattress, don't know. Standard bungee poles. Don't seem like super high quality, but we just need it to work. See if I can get that guy in there. Boom. Oop. Come on, buddy. There we go. Sweet. Cool. Let's take a look inside. Yeah, awesome. All right, let me grab the camera and roll this up so that we will be able to see inside. And this is a pretty slick system here. That took like, less than 10 minutes. And that was because of the first time. So I imagine you can get this thing set up in 5 to 10 minutes pretty easily. Get the rain fly on. All right, let me grab that camera. So, bam, look at that. That is sweet. So, no idea how I already got dirt in there. But this flap comes down right across the front, so that's good. It looks to be right around 6 foot long, which means I'll have to kind of sleep sideways. But there you go. That is the basic idea. I'll get the rain fly on off the camera, kind of set it up, pump up the sleeping mattress. But that is pretty cool. So once I get that all sorted out, I'll turn the camera back on. But looking at the run time, that's 12 minutes. Straight out of the box, not too bad. All right, see you in a sec. All right, so as I was looking for material to start a fire with, typically what I look for to catch a spark is dry branches with birch bark is, the best, of course, or one of the best. But if you can find any sort of dry bark that has this stringy texture, you can make a bundle, a tinder bundle out of this. And even though it rained, what you can do is try to find, like this branch was hanging up in these bushes behind it, and then this underneath part of the stick was is still pretty dry. So I think I should be able to get enough fibrous bark material off of this stick to make a tinder bundle, and we'll see if we can get that started with a ferro rod. And hopefully that works. We'll probably have a magnesium stick that I can assist that ferro rod spark. All right, so I'm going to get this tinder bundle ready, see if we can't get a fire going. All right, take two. So I have this material that I keep in my backpack. If you watched my shelter build video, I used this because it was just super cold and I was tired and didn't want to waste time making a fire. It's like I think it's a jute rope that is soaked in a wax, and so it comes braided to where you can pull off a piece of the braid, break it down even into smaller fibers, and then you take this real tiny fiber here and you can pull it apart to really get some dry fibrous material that will catch a spark. And this material here, you should be able to get this going with just the regular ferro rod, and then it catches quite easily. So then this should take that lower stuff. Let me just see this back All right. Let's see if I can get this going. Everything is damp around here. So this basically acts like a candle wick. So once I get this going, then getting these smaller sticks should be no problem. But I can't even keep this going. So I have some dry kindling underneath that should catch on this go. Get a little bit of air. All right, that's going to be good. So, when it comes to starting a fire, absolutely the most important part is having dry tinder. One of the methods that I like to use the most is just a cotton ball with some Vaseline on it. That will catch with the smallest of sparks, especially with a ferro rod. Again, on the next video, I will try to get some flint and steel. Maybe I will make some char cloth and use that, catch an ember, and then use that to catch the tinder bundle on fire. So, but in this particular case, everything is damp. I kind of cheated with that waxed jute fiber, but nevertheless, as I mentioned in one of my other videos, you can get these at Walmart or any store for a couple bucks. It's just a bunch of magnesium with a ferro rod on it. It even comes with its own striker. It's kind of junky. Using the back of a knife is a lot easier. But these big ferro rods are absolutely fantastic. This is about 1,000 fires in this guy right here. So you have this, a good full tang knife, and that's gonna get you all the fire you need pretty much in any situation. Even in a wet, damp situation, if you look underneath trees, you look underneath like inside of hollowed out, there's ways to find dry material to get that fire started, especially if you have magnesium, especially if you have a ferro rod. And once you get that tinder going, you just have enough dry kindling nearby to feed that, and you are good to go. Have some fuel logs nearby so that you can add and keep that fire going. And fire is everything when you're camping, when you're out in the wilderness. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video. We'll check in later when I'm maybe cooking some food and getting ready for bed. All right, see you in a bit. All right, so had to go charge the phone for a little bit. Came back dark, got the fire going again, and instead of cooking dinner tonight, I'm going to cook breakfast in the morning over the coals. So I'll get another fire going in the morning, see if I can find enough dry tinder to do that same way I did with the ferro rod. Cook up some breakfast, and then we'll call this an experience. Bed's all set up, brought down an extra pillow because that little inflatable guy's not going to do it for me tonight. But anyways, it's been a really, really pretty evening. The stream is still, flowing strong. It sounds awesome. I think it's going to be a good night. So I will catch up with you in the tent and kind of just give you an idea of how big it is not. But otherwise, after that, we'll catch up in the morning. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. All right, so it is time to get to bed, and not super roomy in here. There is a two-person size of this tent for sale. I might go ahead and get one of those. Temperature-wise, it's only supposed to get down to the 50s tonight, so I'll just use this other sleeping bag over here as kind of like a blanket. But as suspected, my feet are right up against the bottom, and head is right up against the top here, so I'll have to kind of curl up a little bit. Not huge, but I am definitely taller than average. The nice thing about being off the ground, however, was, putting my feet up over the edge to take the boots off was very nice. And then having underneath the cot as sort of a storage area that for sure is going to stay dry. So, I think this is going to be relatively comfortable tonight. And so I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everyone. I slept really well, warm anyway. Combination of drinking too much water and that creek. Had to get up a few times, but other than that, definitely warm, comfortable. It's definitely short, but I sleep on the side and kind of curl up anyway. But could be a foot or so longer. It'd be nice, but otherwise, the back support, the mattress kept its air, which I would expect right out of the box, and got a little bit humid. It was humid outside, and so there's some condensation. I imagine that the corners of my sleeping bag are probably damp. So there is that. When you're in cramped quarters at a tent, that's one thing that you always need to consider, is the humidity is going to cause condensations on the inside of the tent just from your breath and whatever. So that's going to make things along the edge damp. So that's just part of camping. Otherwise, I am going to get up, make another fire, and get some food. All right, another successful night. So, a little overcast this morning, but gonna be a nice day temperature-wise. This is what I woke up to a couple times in the night. Really nice sound, but kind of makes me need to go to the bathroom. But beautiful morning, nice weather. We're going to go ahead and get a fire started again and get some breakfast ready. All right, good morning, everyone. We are hopefully going to get this fire going. I've got a little bit better prepared, hopefully, than I had last night. Everything is wet. It drizzled again last night. Not really a full-blown rain, but enough. So I've got the insides of dry wood, a couple feather sticks going on here with some shavings. I've got, just in case, I don't want it to take forever, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of these fibers from this jute rope that I explained last night. Basically a twine rope that has some wax, and I'll go ahead and pull this apart, make those fibers real nice and small. That should catch a pretty good spark, and then we'll go ahead and use the ferro rod. So again, I guess in a survival situation, if you have a lighter, matches, there's no reason to make your fire overly complicated. But the nice thing about the ferro rod, flint and steel, even a bow drill method, is that they don't run out per se. So it's a good idea to at least have some level of confidence getting a fire together with other materials rather than matches and lighters. But there's a reason why people invented matches and lighters. So let's see if we can get this going without too much trouble. Yeah, so hopefully those feather sticks catch. Let's see if we can get those to catch. Even the inside of this particular stick was a little damp. That's what I was a little afraid of. Let's see if we can keep that going. Get some of those. And I'm really relying on that magnesium because these shavings are even damp from the inside of a stick, which is I think that's going to stick. If you haven't seen on another video, basically making a feather stick is just taking the inside dry part and just keeping the shavings as best you can on the stick and having them curl onto themselves, sort of like that. And basically it just gives a concentration of very thin material that will catch a flame unless it is damp. Then it struggles. Man, this is so wet. Probably should have focused a little more on keeping that going rather than explaining. All right, so I'm gonna have to take two on that. Probably use more of this jute fiber to really get that going, because even those feather sticks are just not catching very well. It's just too damp. All right, so let's try this again. So again, you just kind of untwist it, unbraid it, take these real thin pieces here, break up the fibers. I'm going to do with a couple of them. Kind of cheat a little bit with a little bit more of that magnesium in there. See if we can find anything remotely dry. That's not the most amazing sound. All right, so we'll get a little bit more of that jute fiber going. See if I can't get some of these sticks with a little bit of thinner bark. Man, everything is damp. But sometimes that's the way it is. So we'll just keep plugging away with these shavings. That jute fiber makes a huge difference with all that wax on it. That might have produced enough heat to catch some of these sort of dry, smaller sticks. That's the ticket with the kindling, is you just want to start out real small. Once you get a decent flame, then you can certainly add to it. But come on. All right, those sticks have caught, but they are slow to burn. All right, I'm going to pause the video, go get some more sticks hanging from trees as far as I can find, and get a little bit more drier stuff on here, and then I'll restart as I start cooking. All right, fortunately I was able to keep the fire going, and you can see some steam, smoke coming up off of the fire. Much of the fuel logs are also damp, so it's taking a minute to get some coals. But we will be cooking up some pork sausage, some eggs, oatmeal, I'm gonna try that little cooker out, get a fire up underneath that, boil some water, and hopefully we'll be having some breakfast soon. All right, so after a few minutes, I was able to get enough coals going, strong, to boil some water. I will pull that off, get some oatmeal going, fry up some sausage, and then some eggs. So first time I've used that little portable stove. So far so good. It's pretty sturdy. Folds down, or I guess it all comes apart to flat, so it's easy to store and carry in this small little container. The nice thing about it is it has two tops. It has a cross top for, you know, boiling, and then it's got this little grill top here if you were wanting to, you know, cook something directly on the surface. But I can't remember the brand, but I'll tell you later. So far so good there. I'm gonna get the boiling water off. This is an oldie but goodie Boy Scout cook kit that I've had since I was a little kid. And this thing, the design is hard to beat. You've got a pan, you've got a plate, you've got a pot for cooking, boiling water, and then of course it comes with the little measuring cup. So these things have been around forever. I mean, at least since the 80s. I believe they have them even older. So you can find those wherever. But you know, there's other kinds that you can get. Similar concept, similar design. Very handy to have in a go bag or some sort of a camping backpack, because it's just a good design. I should have brought some sort of glove. All right, so get some oatmeal. Maybe in a future video I'll make one. I went to a survival training. I'll have to find out his information a couple years ago for a couple nights, and it was really fun. It was a birthday present, and we made these spoons, carved out the outline, used an ember to hollow out the spoon bowl or whatever, and pretty fun. It's going to be plenty of water, so we'll let that sit where it's not going to tip or get dirt in it. All right, so let's try this sausage. I picked this up at the local store. I think it's a local company that makes it. I've been enjoying it since I've been out here in Shenandoah County. Don't know if you can get it anywhere outside of the county. But we'll just pop a couple dabs in there. Don't necessarily want to handle raw meat right now, so a little gross, but that'll work. These are pretty handy as well. Get yourself some sort, I think this is Gerber brand. Yep. And these little kits you can get in various places, stores. But they typically come with some sort of a can opener, and it looks like it's got a peeler right there, fork and a spoon, and this one even comes with a little spatula. See, that is getting more hot than I was expecting. Flatten those down. Okay. Woo. Man, I had a hard time getting started, but it is definitely hot now. Need to get that flatter. All right, so far this setup is working really well. I'm gonna eat my oatmeal while it's warm. Pause the video while I cook up this sausage. Start it again when I cook up the eggs. So, bon appetit, oatmeal. We are back. All right, so oatmeal, as always, delicious. I've kept the fire small for a reason. Number one, it's a little bit slower and easier to cook, and then two, it's just it's still pretty smoky with all of that damp wood. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out this sausage. Man, that gets warm. Keep that grease in there for the eggs. That is cooked all the way through. Man, that handle is hot. So I'll give a little shout out to a couple spots that I have really grown to enjoy here in Shenandoah County, specifically the Boise area. There is, on the way in, off of exit 273, coming from the north, you come in that direction, take exit 273 off of 81. There's a little store called the Country Cupboard. Fun little place. People there are awesome. They make homemade pies. And that's where I get this pork sausage, Gore's Foltz. Edinburgh, Virginia. So there you go. Packaged by Gore's, Edinburgh, Virginia. Certainly not sponsored by anybody right now, but, you know, always love supporting local companies. Edinburgh is also a cool little town there off of Route 81. There's a lot of them. But some local pork sausage from Gore's Foltz. I think they do other stuff as well. And then that Country Cupboard. Now here in Boise, there's a little gas station that's got a cool little community store there. And then my favorite restaurant, probably of all time right now, the Burn Barrel. Shout out to them. Desiree and her staff, they are absolutely amazing. Super good food. And right there in the town of Boise. It's not really a big town. Of course, we're right next to Bryce Resort, so that's the location. But cool to support these local companies and get that local food. I believe that these might be local eggs as well, but they reuse the containers, so I don't know what farm these are from. So we are going to have some nice greasy eggs here in a second. The handles cool down. Man, that was hot. that way. You know what? I still have some leftover warm water anyway. Just have to rinse off this egg. Yummy. Something about camping, cooking stuff over a fire, it always tastes better. Maybe you're a little bit hungrier from burning some calories. I don't know. But I can't tell you how many times I've made foil dinners for a camp out. Literally some sort of meat, sausage, beef, whatever, seasoned. Cooking it the night before you go is a little bit, makes the time a little bit easier. Dice up potatoes, onions, maybe some carrots, whatever, all folded up with some seasoning in sort of a foil package, double it, triple it, chuck it over some coals, and you'd think that it's like a 5-star restaurant quality food. It's probably not, but when you're camping, everything tastes better. Just like that sausage. Now, sausage is money even when I cook it in the cabin. But part of the fun aspect of camping is, just experiencing food in a different environment like that. So we need to get a little bit more heat underneath this to cook up those eggs. You can tell that they are, I guess, organic, if you will. They've got that much darker yolk than sometimes what you get in the store. Because our eggs in general have been a little bit hard to come by. But get this heat up a little bit. Apparently in the summertime, we have not yet gone, but all up and down Route 11, which is the town that connects those smaller towns on the east of Route 81. Route 11 connects Newmarket, all the way to Strasbourg, Edinburgh, Woodstock, and apparently there's a huge yard sale in the summertime called like the Route 11 Yard Crawl or something to that effect, but miles long. I don't know if it's 40-something miles, 50-something miles long garage sale. Pretty wild. So if you're in the local area, I suppose check that out if that's your thing. All right, these eggs are cooking up a little bit slowly, but man, that handle was getting hot when that flame was higher. You can certainly cook directly over coals, but it's a little easier to control when you have it up, I don't know, using rocks sometimes, one of these little stoves, or some sort of cooking surface, easier to keep level once the cooking surface is level in the first place. Man, that is hot on the fingers. Let that cook. All right, so while I let that cook, update on the campground. I just had a really successful youth group camp out, friend of mine. So still have not gone public or commercial for the campsite or for the campground, but I've got 3 campsites. All 3 were used by this group. Did a bunch of outdoor activities, hiked up and down the trail. They were even nice enough to do about an hour-long service project, help me work on some trails, and then get some of the branches and other debris out of the stream here, just to make that a little prettier. And yeah, it was awesome. So, you know, as I continue to improve the campground itself, I will make videos of the campsites coming into fruition. And then every now and again, I'll try to get some sort of a camping video with either a new tent setup, some sort of a shelter build, try to do a little bit more cooking if that's interesting, see if I can edit this together so that it's not painfully long. But I certainly appreciate the support of, I think, 100 or so folks that are subscribed. If you do find yourself enjoying this content, then I would ask that you subscribe if you have not yet. Maybe share it with a friend, and I will do the best I can to try to teach some stuff, and then also just you know, share this journey with you guys. Man, that is good with the eggs. Cooking it in that pork grease is money, I'm telling you. Oh man, that's good. All right, so I'm gonna finish this off. Josh Hampton here, Camping at the Hamptons YouTube channel. Again, appreciate the support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.